That's a very good question. Every organization or public authority that issues a new law has the best intentions, but of course we have to see what's the jurisprudence about that law and how the governing bodies and how the tribunals and the arbitration courts apply that law. And this is maybe more important than the wording of the law itself. One thing is the law, another thing is the jurisprudence. We have new conflicts arising, especially with for example, the claims of the supporters that have paid for a full season ticket and the competition was interrupted, and now the competition is played but without any supporters in the stands, in the stadiums, and also problems with the employment contracts of the players, because the clubs have the need of negotiating lower salaries for the players, but of course they have their employment contracts already signed and they are theoretically entitled to receive that amount of money. So this is more or less the new conflicts we have with the COVID-19 situation. I would say in the beginning, because there was uncertainty on what was going to happen. We didn't know if the competitions were going to be restarted, and we didn't know anything. And in fact, we also have a lot of new regulations from the government in all economic areas of the society, but also, of course, in sport. When could the clubs come back to their normal activity, to the trainings, to the restart of the competition? I would say that period between the mid-March and June was the most difficult, because we didn't know what was going to happen. Now we have protocols and we have everything. The CAS provides a dispute resolution system based on arbitration, and that means that the arbitration has to be previously agreed by the parties. For example, if two parties sign an agreement, a contract, they can establish that any dispute relating that contract will be subject to arbitration, and specifically to the arbitration of the Court of Arbitration of Sport. And also all the members of FIFA are bounded by the CAS decision, since FIFA recognizes the CAS as an arbitral tribunal in order to solve the disputes between the different football stakeholders. The biggest challenge of football is in integrity matters, the match fixing related matters, because it's very difficult for a sports organization, a sport football governing body, to prove that a match has been fixed, because it requires certain investigation that depends on the criminal authorities, and I would say that the most difficult cases to prove are those related to match fixing and match manipulation. That the problem is that nowadays we can bet at any match in football and also in other sports, even in amateur categories where amateur players are playing. And the problem here is that it's very easy, or it's easier to fix any match in amateur categories, because these mafias that organize the match fixing, they can more easily corrupt a football player, since they can, with a very small amount of money, they can achieve on the match manipulation. From a legal point of view, I don't see a very big issue here. I think that it's more a moral concept or related to ethics in football, but the reality in our country and in the most of the countries is that betting is legal. So I don't see why it should be prohibited for the football clubs to have this support from the betting houses, and especially when football is coming from the last years from a very big crisis, and these betting companies helped football clubs a lot in order to keep their finances at a good level, let's say. For professional football, both the professional league, the La Liga, and the Spanish Football Federation are working very hard and very well. They have established important, very restricted protocols in order to the matches to be played. Of course, with the support of the government and in cooperation with the health authorities. And the proof of that is that we reassumed the competitions in first and second division in May, June, without any important problems. The Champions League as well, and the Spanish Football Federation was able to manage a new system of competition in order to establish the playoffs for the promotion from the Segunda División B to the second division. So I think that professional football is dealing very, very well, because they have the protocols and they have the financial support to do that. It's more difficult in amateur categories, in lower categories, because it's very difficult to make PCR tests to all players, like in professional football, and in that context, I would say that it's more difficult. But I think that professional football is dealing with it in a very good manner, I would say. Yes, very much, very much. I was talking about this with the students yesterday when I studied my master's in law in 2003. In Spain, there was only one master's in sports law. Now in 2020, we have a lot of different programs for sports law and sports management, sports marketing, the business of a sport, and it's very important because sports organizations are more and more professionals.